Out of the way, we have now the next session. We have Mr. Rajesh Nambiar, General Manager, IBM Services Integration and Program Chair, NILF 2016. He's going to give us a brief overview of the agenda and what we can't miss, what's in store for the next 3 days. Ladies and gentlemen, over to Rajesh.
Thank you, Shreya. Ladies and gentlemen, let me also add my own share of welcome to all of you for the NASSCOM India Leadership Forum 2016. Clearly, as you saw, the theme was Smart Enterprise, Transformative to Disruptive. And just a word of caution, this transformative to disruptive was sort of meant to be a sort of a continuum, right? This not, so you don't go to disruptive and kind of stay there, but hopefully it's a continuum. And I know that those of you who have been attending NILF maybe for the last few years or for all the 24 years, some of you, you do know that we have evolved these themes over a fairly large period of time as the industry grew, as our topics kind of gotten interesting. It kept changing, right? So we've had all of the topics, enterprise of the future, future of the industry, digital, SMAC, and whatnot. So this year we've chosen to be the smart enterprise. And you'll realize, that, also for an enterprise to be smart, I mean, it's fairly reasonable to assume that they have a competitive advantage which they could sustain for a while. And I'm going to argue that one such unprecedented competitive advantage for a period of time should come from this, what we call price of not knowing. So I just want to sort of deal with that a little bit, and then we'll get on to the agenda very, very quickly. As you know, this whole notion of price of not knowing, we have seen the ability for organizations to take advantage and leverage the price of not knowing. Also, historically, if you go back and look at it, whether as an organization or a country or as a region, we have suffered because of we paid the price of not knowing, actually. I mean, all of us remember the tsunami that we had in 2004. For those of you in India and Southeast Asia, so you know that the price of not knowing is going to be very, very, very high. And same as globally, we all saw the financial crisis of 2007 and 2008, which many people today argue that if it could have been prevented, if only you had the ability to process the notoriously voluminous data from the financial systems, and if you had the ability to understand this bunch of unstructured data by means of cognitive computing, one could have prevented some of this as we go. But for an enterprise, and that's our focus today, not the country, not the state, not anything else. For a country, for an enterprise, it's going to be a lot more closer home in terms of even looking at it and saying that, how could we take advantage of this notion of price of not knowing? Okay, what do I mean? Let's take an example of an oil industry. As you all know, to drill an oil well, it takes upwards of about $300 million or so. And apparently, they're only successful 1/3 of the time, which is strange given the cost of how much it costs to drill a particular oil well. So imagine a possibility where a company who actually bids for all of these oil wells around the world understand not just from the seismological data, but also from the context of business and from a geopolitical situation. If you really had the insight, understanding where are we really going to get the oil, or where it's possible to sort of continue to drill the oil, the amount of savings and amount of killings that the company could make is just off the charts. I mean, they could really, really be completely off the charts. So that is the power of truly having the cognitive computing in terms of getting some of this done. But again, given the price of the crude oil, etc., today, you probably don't even want to drill anywhere. But that's a different story. Healthcare, and I think the Chief Minister talked about this whole notion of how do you really get to the common man, and how do you really improve the healthcare using technology. I mean, today, a radiologist, for instance, sits in a dark room all day long, looks at this numerous pictures and images of all of the the medical images one by one, and the ability for a radiologist to sort of really make a mistake by fatigue or otherwise is probably very, very high. So imagine a world where you are able to sort of, get the precision down, not from 1,000 images, but if you're able to even get to 3 or 4, then A, of course, it brings down the cost tremendously, and B, of course, you can improve the quality of care as well. Same with education. In education, the price of not knowing how every individual learns is unfathomable today, by the way. Because today, doesn't matter whether it is India or somewhere else, the education systems are today designed to actually educate the average and then sort of accommodate the both ends, right? I mean, that's how our education system is designed today. So imagine a situation where if you're able to build those education for that individual as if he or she is the only student in the class, the ability for us to do that will require for us to understand, process data, and truly having a cognitive computing capability to do this. Finally, we know that the cities like New York, Chicago, London, Paris, whatever, they generate enormous amount of data, right? 570 trillion terabytes of data is what they generate on a short period of for a month or so. So highly unstructured information. We get videos, we get signal data, we get all kinds of data from a city. Imagine a possibility for us to really process those data and make some sense out of it. And sadly, in Paris, we just saw the price of not knowing, right? I mean, when you don't know what you don't know. So my point being that for the first time ever, we are at a tipping point where we're having machines in the mainstreams that can truly augment human behavior and potential. So that is the place where we are today. And if you could get the clicker somewhere, I don't know. Yeah. So do we have the, yeah. So anyway, so that is the background as to what we want to talk about. Then going back to the agenda, I think most of the initial speakers kind of gave you a sense of what really is going to go on in the next 2 days. So I'm not going to belabor too much on that, but I just want to leave you with a few thoughts. One is on the smart enterprise, we are going to get this competitive advantage that I spoke about price of not knowing. The ability for us to engage with the customers, sense their needs at a granular level, and respond in a timely and effectively fashion. That's what you're going to see for the next 3 days. We have introduced many first things in this particular NILF. Some of them I'll read out, and then rest we'll cover as it goes. Number one, we have crossfire sessions, which is first time ever in NILF. There's a lot of eminent speakers and debaters are going to debate, literally debate, going against each other for about 3 or 4 sessions that we have for the rest of the 3 days. So please do not miss that. We have a hashtag session where you, as participants, you have given us the content. You have crowdsourced those content. That's going to be the hashtag session. All of this is, by the way, going to be on a live YouTube channel. We're streaming as we speak at this point in time. So day one, it's going to be macro level topics. We're going to have great speakers. Immediately after I'm off the stage, they're going to be 2 phenomenal CEOs going to be with us, and I already see Chandra coming in. Thank you, Chandra, for coming in. So we're going to have 2 phenomenal speakers coming in, great topics. And day 2, we're going to have a lot in terms of cutting-edge technology. So day 2 is going to be about technology and what we're going to do with them, and how do you really leverage them for our businesses. And finally, on day 3, we have this innovation for India, right? So both, we combine this India topic and innovation topic. So you're going to get, so if any of you are thinking of not staying for day 3, please change your plans. You have to stay for day 3. It's going to be very, very interesting. By the way, when you go out of the hall, make a right, towards the end, you have the digital experience zone. And I think RC talked about it, a couple of people have talked about it. Phenomenal in terms of Tech Cafe. For the first time ever in the history of NILF, we're going to have about 11 companies every single day. So what you see today, you don't see tomorrow, right? So there are companies who are, previously we had the same company showcasing all 3 days. We're going to change them every day. So the first day, it's about smart enterprise. Surprise. Second day, it's going to be user-centric design. So second day, it's all going to be user-centric design. So make sure that you have a look at that as well. And last day, again, is going to be innovative solutions. And this is going to be across many industries, though. Healthcare, environment, agriculture. And by the way, do not miss the drones. I mean, I don't know how many of you have seen the drones already. You have 2 drones, one on the top, one on the bottom. The one on the bottom, you can also watch the drone take off by the wink of an eye. So, if you've not tried it in the college, try it now. You will certainly be, be surprised. And it can also take your picture and automatically tweet it. So try all of that. You'll have a lot of fun. So with that, so this is broadly the agenda, and I can guarantee to you that the amount of care and the level of involvement, the NASSCOM team and the rest of us who sort of worked on the program, you were going to have a phenomenal show. If the first By the way, the first dance, how did you like it? Wasn't it great? The ones which, yeah? Wasn't it great? By the way, the initial plan was all of us to dance like that. Me, RC, N. Chandra, and all of that. But then we changed the plan and we saw that, it would be better off having the real people dance there. So with that, I'm going to spend a few minutes on the next session, which is the ride the power of disruption to be obsolete. So let me present to you Safra Katz, our opening keynote speaker. Safra Katz is the chief executive of Oracle Corporation and a member of the company's board of directors. She has been with Oracle since 1999, a long time. And I saw her profile and I was impressed because she has done everything in the company could potentially do. She was in HR and everything else. She was served as the president of Oracle and also served the company's CFO twice, not once, but twice, right? She served on the board of directors for HSBC Holding since 2008. She has a bachelor's degree from Wharton School and in 1983, and a JD from UPenn Law School. So she's got a strong Wall Street background, and I read somewhere, and it didn't come from a profile, that she likes spreadsheets more than the PowerPoint presentation. So that explains somebody from Wall Street and somebody with a CFO background. So with that, ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together for Safra Katz.
Wow, what an exciting group. What a wonderful day to be here, actually. And let me just take a look at all this, to take it all in. This is really magnificent. I knew that I'd be so overly excited today that I couldn't do what I usually do, which is just speak. So I've gone ahead and written a few notes, if you don't mind. But before I even start, I just want to thank you and thank the folks from NASSCOM for hosting just such a magnificent event. Thank you, Rajesh, where are you? All right. Thank you for your overly generous and gracious introduction. It is truly a privilege. It's really a privilege to be here in front of you. And, I'm going to talk a little bit today about technology and about transformation and about disruption and what I think it means. But I know that most of us in this room really spend our days trying to solve the most difficult technology problems and the most difficult business problems. And, as we solve these very, very complicated issues, we're having to have one foot in today and one eye on tomorrow. And that's very difficult for all of us to do. And I know, many of you know Oracle, and you know us as a database company. And, but I don't think that really, captures the current scale of our operation, because we ourselves have been through a continuous transformation. I look back and I think about the Oracle I joined, it's over 17 years ago now. And we were really like many little Oracles. And we did things in our own sort of disorganized chaos and operation, and we ran things any way we wanted. Sort of reminds me a little bit about the disorganized and successful chaos that you have here in India. And I'll tell you, when I came, I remember thinking that change is going to be, how hard can it be? In that moment, our tagline actually included the word change. It was the internet, it was 1999, and it was the internet changes everything. And I remember thinking, well, as a former computer programmer, I thought to myself, this can't be that hard. You tell a computer what to do, it does it. Little did I think about the really important part of technology transformations. The really important part is about the people and getting everyone to change together. And though technology is an enabler, it is the people that make it possible and the information that is the true disruptor. Whether it is a better information within a business to better information about a business or better information about competition or our customers, that is the true disruptor. Technology makes it possible, but the information is what changes the game. And for those of us in this room, and I think it's all of us, who can really grab this opportunity, this is an important opportunity for all of us. Because now our customers are starting to look very, very seriously at their move to the cloud. We all talk about it, we're all thinking about it, but we also have to understand that this is, in many ways, a similar opportunity to bring about true transformation. Because just like in the 90s, where we automated processes, what we understood was, within Oracle, for example, what we understood was the important thing for us to do was not just to automate an old process, which in our case was to automate the 100 different ways we did things around the world, but to actually figure out what was the best process and automate that one so that we did it the best way around the world. As we move to the cloud, which of course our customers are incredibly excited about because it gives them an opportunity to acquire only what they need, to plan for their regular business, but get additional power when they need it at peak periods, to pay for what they use, to change CapEx into OpEx, and for them to change their mind and move to different directions. As they want to move to the cloud, we also have to understand and share with them the understanding of where they really want to be. Because you see, they're all at point A, wherever point A is, but ultimately point B is not just bringing to the cloud everything they're doing today. It's figuring out what really is their business and what they want to have in the cloud. For us at Oracle, I'll tell you, one of the most important things is we want to make sure that our customers have choice. Because some of our customers are going to bring everything to the cloud: production, test development, every workload. But frankly, I think many of them will bring some things to the cloud. And we want to make sure that what they bring, they also have the opportunity to run in the public cloud or in their own private clouds or move back and forth. Because businesses change, needs change, and strategies change. But an overriding idea is that ultimately where they are, that point B, is something that can carry them for the next few decades. Just like their move in, Y2K has brought them here, this should carry them into the future. And though, as I stand here and talk with you, I think about enterprises, and many of you are thinking just about businesses. But really, the largest enterprises in the world and the ones that can have the most impact are governments. And so I really want to just spend a moment to share with you really why I'm here. Because I'll tell you, I've been at Oracle for, as I said, since 1999. When I started, we were 40,000 employees. We're now over 130,000 employees. In fact, we are approaching 40,000 employees just here in India now. I'll bet many of you did not realize. We have been here for decades. We started in the 80s as a part of working with Tata Consultancy. I know many of you have come and gone from Tata. Some of you are there now, a wonderful partner of ours. Imagine now, we started then, we now have hundreds of partners, many of you I see here. And so it's fantastic. And we started in India also with just a small operation supporting some customers, doing a little back office work. But we understood that the real potential in India is in fact the brilliant intellectual capacity. And 2 decades ago, almost 2 decades ago, we started to build up our development groups here. We have 9 regional development centers in the country. In fact, I'm not supposed to announce anything here, but I'll tell you, I can see my PR lady is going bananas. But I can tell you that we are launching additional expansion, and that's one of the reasons I'm in the country for the next week or so. But I will tell you that our expansion here in India and our buildup here is the reason that we are as strong as we are, because our development centers are actually here, where we have entire product lines done here. And they go, full career. For us, India is not just a back office. India is a front office, and it is how we serve the world. I think many of you know that, in fact, our financial services operation that runs core banking, develops it, and services the world, our own Make in India, is based right here in Mumbai, in fact. And in 2006, we were actually, even then, India's second largest foreign direct investor. So let me tell you, as I said, why I'm here. So in October, Prime Minister Modi came to Silicon Valley. And as you can imagine, many very senior and important government ministers come and go in and out of Silicon Valley. But I met with the Prime Minister, and I started to listen about Digital India and Make in India, and I started to study about this incredibly ambitious plan. And as he spoke, and as I learned more and more, I realized that this is not only an ambitious plan, but truly an inclusive one that includes really, truly multiple pillars of expansion which will have an impact not only in India, but worldwide, that will make for other companies and other businesses a positive improvement in prosperity, as well as for the country, but very similar to what Oracle itself has experienced with our embrace of India now decades ago. And as I looked, and as I heard more and more, I understood that the chance of this truly becoming a reality and bringing it to the next level requires a lot of work, frankly, from the people in this room, for us to bring both companies and the country through the most profound digital transformation for the most people ever in the world. And so with that, I understood the potential, because I had an experience that can only be described as minuscule in comparison to the transformation that is outlined by Prime Minister Modi. But our own transformation of Oracle, when I first started, as I mentioned to you, was of let me say, disorganized chaos, yet success. And as we brought technology and better information about ourselves, about our customers, and about our suppliers, we were able to not only be more profitable, but grow faster, be more profitable, and release resources so that we could move from the $650 million a year we spent on R&D when I started to the $5.5 billion we spend now. And that kind of transformation, imagine if that could be done on a national scale in a country with the intellectual power that is India. I mean, it is breathtaking. It honestly, you notice I don't even look down at my notes. I'm so excited because it is so profound for the change possible. And I have to say, to have as a leader Prime Minister Modi, who has been so successful in his previous role, is fantastic for us. It is great for business, but it is even better for everyone else. Just like Oracle's transformation was, of course, good for us at Oracle, but it also released the resources for us to be so much larger than the Oracle that Tata first brought to this country. We now have in the cloud over 100 product modules. We have now every level of the cloud that we offer, whether it's infrastructure as a service, platform as a service, or software as a service. We have vertical applications like banking, which I mentioned, but utilities, telecommunications, retail, all made possible by our initial transformation. But I have some news for you. I only wish transformations were an event, a beginning and an end. But I know many of you, because so many of your companies have transformed so dramatically over the past decades, that in fact transformation is a process. But once it gets started, it is actually very hard to stop, because you unleash the ingenuity and creativity of your own people, and that's what makes it the most exciting. So I guess I'll stop there because I think there are going to be a few questions. And I'm going to take this opportunity just to, before I even sit down, to thank you all. I am so unbelievably proud to be part of this event and so, frankly, intimidated by all your presence. But I want to thank you. I want to thank the NASSCOM folks and all of you, and of course, for you, Rajesh.
So thank you, Safra. That was amazing. So I was just watching some of the tweets as we were speaking. Just incredible, and it came from your heart, and you spoke. This was a very genuine. Even though you've come to India for the very first time.
Yes.
Very first time. I think it has been just a phenomenal. So let me just step back and see. When you look at global corporations, whether it's Oracle or several other global corporations who have been actually looking at India for many things, right? I mean, there was a time when global corporations looked at India for the talent, whether it's for the R&D talent, for the services talent, purely for the people, right? And off late, of course, and the global corporations have looked at India as a market, right? As a growth market, and you talked about your expansion in India. What has been your view, Safra, in terms of how do you look at India? Are you looking at it as a source of talent, or is it as a market? What is your view?
This is one of those questions where the only answer is yes. Yes. Is it a market? Yes. It's a phenomenal market, especially for folks like us, where I have to say our products do the talking for us. I don't want to insult my marketing and sales teams. They are wonderful. But because our customers are so technical, we can't fool them. We have never, ever had a great product do badly, and we've never had one of our stinkers. And every once in a while, you'll have a stinker. We've never had one of them do well. And so for us, it is a fantastic market. And because, as I said, the technical knowledge in this country is so deep, it is also truly, very, very strong for us. But it is also an unbelievable source of intellectual talent. As many of you know, the head of Oracle's entire software development organization, who's based now in California, was born in Bangalore. So, and of course, as I mentioned, I've got 38,000 absolutely fantastic employees, of which a few thousand of them I'm going to get to visit, actually, on Monday.
Excellent, excellent.
But you know what else it is for us, and why this Digital India and Make in India? I feel like we live Make in India. When you have 40,000 people building software in the country, we are making it in India for the world. But it's true. It's true. It's totally true. And I'll tell you, though, the idea of bringing even more of the Indian population into a modern technology enablement where they can make choices and deal with the governments and deal with each other in a way that is laid out in this vision. I mean, nowhere else has an opportunity been as large. I mean, with 1.3 billion people and so much opportunity and growth, where else, who can match that? No one, just India.
Absolutely, you said it, you said it. So a couple more quick observations, right? And you mentioned in your speech, not technology, but information is disruptive.
Yes.
And I think, nobody in this room probably would disagree. But there's also a school of thought, Safra, honestly, that it seems to indicate that the startups and the really small organizations who are very nimble-footed seem to be having a disproportionately more capability, if you may, to disrupt, right? So the incumbent large organizations have always been sort of lagging behind a little bit on this disruption curve, if you may. So is there a view, or do you have a view to say Is there a role that the large corporations play which is different from the small corporations, or we just have to follow the small corporations? What's your view?
Let me tell you, I actually believe the key, as much as I like to say it's technology, I still believe that the key is leadership, that the key is vision. Of course, Oracle has been really blessed, is unbelievably blessed by the fact that our founder and visionary is Larry Ellison. I mean, Larry and Scott McNealy from Sun were talking about the network and network computing and utility computing over 20 years ago, okay? And because of that vision, by the way, over a decade ago, Larry basically made us rewrite every single product we have in preparation for when the cloud, which, by the way, we didn't call the cloud, we didn't even know it was called the cloud, but we rewrote our entire line of products and have now been building hardware just for what was utility computing or software as a service. And I will tell you that it is all about vision and all about leadership ultimately. So as much as you want to say it's big or it's small, the reality is that we have been very lucky that the fella that started Oracle when we were very, very small, when we first came into this country, is still the guy who is our guiding visionary, and for all of you who don't realize it, runs the development meetings every single afternoon that I sit in, and that who'll be running them at about, midnight tonight for me, reviewing every one of those products, because our view is, yes, the little companies are doing it because they are not shackled usually. They're not afraid that they will be cannibalizing themselves like the big companies. But you see, at Oracle, our view is we better cannibalize ourselves. We better get ahead of the change before it happens to us. And that is the courage, frankly, of Larry Ellison and the vision that he has.
Absolutely. I agree completely. Just that the larger corporations have always had this hesitation to sort of disrupt your own business, and exactly that was the question. So I know we have tons of questions in the audience. We probably won't be able to get anywhere. One last question, and I think we'll end the session. There are several system integrators in the audience today, as you can imagine. What would be, you talked about the cloud era, and then what your company is actually doing, Safra, and then what the world should be doing differently as well. So when you look at your system integrators across the world, what is the one message you want to give them in the new cloud era? And then we sort of mentioned some of your own positioning. What do you want to get done? What would be your advice to the partners here?
I actually think this is the single largest opportunity for the system integrators that they will ever face. This is an opportunity to bring 40 years of customer bases into the cloud, but what has to happen is not just bring what's on premise into a data center that is in the cloud. No. Our customers together, we need to walk them into what is truly important in their operations. We need to understand where they need to be. And this is the chance, because I'll tell you, we have a show very much like this in California called Oracle Open World. Many of you, and I've seen a number of you there, and we've met. And what you see is our 60,000 customers show up. And you know what their biggest question is? How do I get there? That's what. How can you help me? And the reality is that only with our work, with our systems integrators, can we bring them to their future. And we need to understand architecture, we need to understand security, we need to understand performance, we need to understand all of these issues, analytics, all of these things, because they've got pieces stovepiped and all over the place. And it is absolutely critical that when we bring them into the cloud, We don't make things worse, where now all the things are, at least before they were in their data center, now they'll be all over the planet. So it's very, very important that we all work together to guide them into a future based on, ultimately, an architecture, but based on an understanding of the real benefits of the cloud. This is not something we're going to do alone. This is exactly because of all these system integrators and all of these partners is how we all got here today. And moving to the cloud is the single largest opportunity we will probably all face in our career.
Great, great. Very well said, Safra. So again, very profound. And I want to, on behalf of NASSCOM and all of the NASSCOM India leadership team, I want to thank you for taking the time to be with us today. Ladies and gentlemen, put hands together for Safra.
Thank you. Thank you. And this, thank you, right there. Thank you. This is actually for you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. We are done. We are done. We need to have you on stage. We need to give you a little memento for joining us.
Thank you.
Analytics, technology, innovation, disruption, different pieces of the jigsaw puzzle. What do you do with this puzzle if you don't have the vision or the leadership to drive it for real value to your customer? Ladies and gentlemen, those were deep insights from Safra. Rajesh, I request you to hand over the photograph and the little memento.
Oh. And you made me look younger. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Rajesh. Thank you, Safra.